Welcome to Toffee TV. We are here to talk about Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but before we do, this video is brought in association with The Athletic. The Athletic, you can get 7 days free at the moment and then 50% off your yearly subscription. Lots of brilliant stuff in The Athletics, loads of real journalism, not just clickbait stuff. We have our own Everton designated journalists, of course, Paddy Boyland and Greg O'Keefe. They also do a podcast, I think, as well. Glad Tidings. After the Gladys Street, obviously. But lots of great stuff on there, not just Everton stuff, real journalism, football journalism. So check it out. The link is in the description below. This was something we were going to talk about anyway.
Yeah.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin, because obviously it was the anniversary. It was his birthday on Monday, and then it was 3 years ago since he scored his first goal against Hull City with a defence of Andy Robertson and Harry Maguire. Looking clueless, so it's always good. But this was something we were going to talk about anyway. But The Athletic Paddy's actually done an article about Dom as well to coincide with that.
There was an interview as well, wasn't there? I think.
There's interviews with other people, not Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but other people who've been important in his career so far. So I thought it was good for us to have the chat about it. And it, like you said, it ties in nicely with the Athletic article as well. This is a lad who, for me, has been, over the last 18 months, easily Everton's most improved player, but has gone up huge levels, I'd say, since Duncan Ferguson took over in December and implemented a 4-4-2. And I think what we're seeing now with Dominic Calvert-Lewin in a 4-4-2 is him being able to get on the end of stuff, hence his goals have gone, and you know, him and Richarlison forming an absolutely brilliant partnership. Yeah,
they've been as a partnership superb, and Dom has absolutely grabbed hold of the responsibility. I think, you know, he's, as you mentioned, 3 years since he scored his first goal. You know, a little tap in, a striker's goal actually. And obviously we'd seen him brought in from Sheffield
playing
United.
Off the left that day.
Yeah. Obviously we've seen him brought in from Sheffield United. I believe he'd had a really good game against the under-23s for one of the lower teams, and he'd caught the eye of David Unsworth, who wanted to sign him, and obviously
knew him from his Sheffield United days, though. Unsworth had been at Sheffield.
But it was around the time when we were putting a lot of money into the under-23s. He one of the players he wanted, and he brought him in, and within no time he was on the first team, because obviously all the managers have had him just love the fact that he's so adaptable. He works hard, he's got the right attitude, he's got everything is right about what he does. And I think in football circles that goes a long way, and sometimes that goes a longer way than talent, because talent is something that might just turn up now and again, but hard work will always be there. And what you find in football,
hard work beats talent if the talent doesn't work hard.
Exactly. And he epitomises that attitude. But what has happened with him is, obviously we've seen him early on, and we've seen him play in various positions, off the left, off the right wing back, all kinds of different positions, and you know, he has developed this game into you know, what we're seeing at the moment, or what we were seeing at the moment, just before this moment.
Yeah, I mean, reading through the article, I think one of the things that was really interesting was he went on loan to Stalybridge Celtic when they were in the conference at 17. Sheffield United weren't even sure whether he was going to get or nothing had been said to him about getting a pro contract at that time. It's a big gamble for a kid who's in a youth team to go to a non-league. You know, it was the conference at 17. It's a man's league, you know, people money to professional league. The centre-backs not wanting kids to take the mick out of them and give you a whack. But Sheffield United felt that would develop him, having to go and play against centre-backs who... This is something we say about that's under-23s at the moment, is that there's a lot of talent in there, but these lads are playing against their own age group or 17-year-old centre-back. Talk about Ellis Sims, for argument's sake. Great, scores a lot of goals, but up against lads his own age in nice football, where it's all nicey, where
behind closed
doors football, essentially what it is, isn't it? Whereas Dom, all credit to him, you know, to go out on loan to a non-league side. He went and played 5 games for Stalybridge Celtic, scored 6 goals in a month's loan, so quite a good return. came back and then played a couple of games, made his debut for Sheffield United as a couple of sub-appearances that season. And then the following season went out to Chris Wilder, who's the Sheffield United manager now, of course, at Northampton, and played 20 times for them, scored 5 goals. But obviously, a higher standard, so you'd expect a little bit of an awakening again against big, strong centre-backs. And ended up playing 9 games further than for Sheffield United, but didn't score a goal for Sheffield United. But Unsworth, that summer, David Unsworth, like you just rightly said, had seen enough in a lad who's 6'2" and athletic and get around a pitch. And luckily for Everton, we were able to get him, and there was other teams sniffing around him. But I think the kind of the biggest thing for that was we brought him in the August. Remember when we signed him and it was like, who's this? Like a lad coming in, but we were signing a few, as you rightly said, at that time. So, you look at it and go, oh, is this just a lad we're not going to see? Because we'd seen that before, haven't we? Yeah. And Ronald Koeman, who's quite a straight-talking manager, I suppose, in some respects, Adam making his debut in December, so he'd literally been at the club for just over 3.5 months, and he come on in a 2-1 win over Arsenal. I mean, Ashley Williams scored the winner, we getting beat that night, and really from that moment he was involved. He didn't play every game, but he was in virtually every squad.
I think he came in at the right time. It's funny because him and Tom Davis came in around the same time, and obviously they're both in the first team now, and trajectories are slightly different. But they both came in a time when, in terms of the first team, we were a little bit like we are now, in terms of a lot of players, but you swap one for another and there was very little difference, apart from the people who were, your outstanding players like Lukaku.
Barkley.
And he came in and it was like, well, might as well give him a go. We'd won 1 game in 10, I think, when we beat Arsenal. I think we beat West Ham. That was the only game we'd won in 10 after having a really good start. And he got in and started playing in positions and not worrying about what the position was, just worrying about keeping his shirt. And he did that a lot of the times. So when he came in, people would...
Well, if you think about that, sorry to interrupt, I was just looking there in that first season, he made 11 appearances and scored the 1 goal against Hull. But he would have had a lot more. If you remember, we played Southampton just after Christmas, I think it was. Don't know whether it was before New Year or after New Year. And he started up front with Rom, but he only lasted about 8 minutes. He got injured, done his ankle, I think, and went off. So he was out for 6 weeks. So that curtailed a lot of games. He probably would have been up to like 20
and
games.
And actually, he'd be a perfect foil for Romelu Lukaku now. He'd do all that work that other people accuse Rom of not doing. But he would.
Well, Rom didn't do, but Rom was an unbelievable goal scorer, wasn't he?
But that's the point, isn't it? He would do that work now, and I think he got in at the right time. He kept his head down. He didn't worry about where he was playing. Like we said, he started the following season playing right wing back.
Having scored the winner in the World Cup final, of course, for the...
He scored... he played in, obviously... did he score in Rosenberg?
Yeah, scored in Rosenberg. He scored the winner, we won 1-0. Good ball, Davy Klassen.
Yeah, it was the only thing Davy Klassen ever did. And then he started the season playing right wing. He provided the cross for Rooney.
Yeah, he set the winner up for Rooney. And Koeman, we got to our time and Koeman was a bit like, that was crap. Go up front. Yeah. And he was all right. That day, he put him and Ramirez up front and Rooney behind. It should have been 5.
Yeah, it should have been. We should have battered them. And they looked all right.
They did, yeah.
Sandro went off after about... Well, his legs went off after about an hour, but the rest of them went off a little bit later. And then on the following Monday night, we played Manchester City and you were away and I was at the game and I remember it because you've still not watched this game.
No, I'm not full.
And I kept on saying to you, oh my God, what a centre-forward performance that was. It was one of the...
Terrified them.
He terrified Company. He destroyed them that night. Obviously, we got a 1-1 draw. Rooney scored and they got a man sent off and then, they ended up getting the equaliser, but we played really well that night. But he was incredible up front. He just tormented them all night. And actually, the biggest compliment you could say was the manager couldn't take him off. He was exhausted. The manager had nobody to bring on in his place because nobody could do what he could do even when he was exhausted. And I think he did go off sort of towards the end, very close to the end. but he was absolutely exhausted. And in that performance, I just seen something. And it was funny that you didn't see that performance. And obviously you've always been a little bit more, I'm not sure about this lad. But that lad, that night made my mind up about him. Because I just thought he had everything that night. And this was from the previous season when we'd seen, I remember watching him in the derby when they beat us. Coutinho scored the goal after Pennington had scored. Yeah. And I remember watching him that night and that day, and I was just like, he was playing him. He had no effect. He looked dead lightweight, and I really at that time I was like, oh, he's another one. But against Man City, I was completely convinced, and I always held on to that, even in some games where he was just looked really poor. I mean, even this season we've seen, like when we played Burnley away, and you were like, oh, is he, Villa away when
formation? No,
I know, but that's what's come out of it. But like Villa away when we've Moise Keane on the bench, and people are like, just play Moise Keane. It's like, we've got a lad here who's played loads of Premier League games and you're giving him stick. And yeah, that night against Manchester City, he completely convinced me that he could be a centre forward. And I remember on the Sunday we played Chelsea, and we played on the Thursday at Split, and he come off the bench, and all the players looked knackered. And but I remember he the first thing he did was he came on. And he did something very similar to David Luiz that he'd been doing to Company. And David Luiz just boosted him up in the air. And I thought that's the biggest compliment anyone can pay you. Yeah. He's basically telling you he will not put up with what you did to Vincent Company on last Monday night.
It shows fear, doesn't it? On that day, the Chelsea game, Sandro being injured and we just started him, which was berserk and kind of ruined the lad's career, didn't we? From then, because after that he was back out the side. It was like we looked what we could do to wreck his confidence, and we did it.
That to a few players. We did. David Klaas and Tom Davis.
Yeah, Ross Barkley in the end. He was good at that.
If he had a track record, that's what it was.
That was what it was, yeah. But no, you're right. Listen, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, when I watched him, was like, he's got some good attributes. Brilliant in the air, great spring on him. His hold up plays quite good, but never in the right area. Never gonna get us the goals we need, because his best work is away from the penalty box. And when you play him with one centre forward and he's further back than your number 10, it was always an issue. But the first season 1 goal and 11, second season under Koeman, played 44 games in his second full season, scored 8 goals, 4 Premier League goals. Okay. Third season, obviously Koeman had gone, and we had Allardyce, didn't we? And we'd had all of that.
We got a new contract,
and then Marco Silva come in, and he ended up with 8 goals again in 38 games, 6 Premier League goals. So his Premier League goals are going up. But even under Marco Silva, he was still at those, because of the way we played. You see, Everton for years had played with one centre forward. Yeah. We'd have a joke going, is it in a manager's contract that can only play one striker? And it didn't benefit him, but it did.
But it did. In a way. But what I would say is, everything that was thrown at Lukaku in terms of criticism, Lukaku knew that by all that not needless of course, but by all that running around would not do anything, because he understood that the rest of the team couldn't back up what he was doing, and he figured that out where maybe other people didn't, and he just stayed in the box. And if there had to be runs made, he was just like, no, let someone else do that. I'll do what I'll do. And if the ball goes in the corner and they get it and come back out it, whatever. But if I'm over there, what am I going to do? Because if the ball comes in the box, and he sort of figured that out. Whereas Dom, being a young player, wanted to chase everything like a dog. He just wanted to chase everything. And you're right what you've just said. Where he was failing to score goals, he was actually though building up his appreciation of
he's learning the other
the
stuff,
runs he had to make. I think there's 2 different kinds of centre forwards. There's centre forwards that come through and are like Michael Owen. They've got natural ability. Franny Jeffers, Robbie Fowler, people who understand how to put the ball in the back of the net, but also that last movement, that last split-second move when the player plays the ball into the gap and they go, and that's it. That's all they know. Everything else, we Lineker, there's them kind of players. There's other kind of players, the other centre forwards who do all the dirty work, and some of them become good centre forwards And that's what Dom seems to be becoming. He seems to have learned it all the wrong way round. But sometimes that's the best way to do it, because you can have players who can put the ball in the back of the net, but they're not fit, they don't work hard, they don't have the dedication, they don't go on loan to conference sides and see what the other side of football is. They don't get that understanding for it, and they never will. So all their God-given talent, if you want to call it, putting the ball in the back of the net, like we were saying before, it's wasted, because what's the point of it? And we've seen some of those players, but we've had loads of hard workers over the time. You think of someone like, one that naturally I think of is Marcus Bent, who come into a side, who run all day, and got the odd goal, but because we had Tim Cahill, it just worked. It just worked. And we tried to replace him with like James Beattie, didn't work. Andy Johnson was almost the perfect fit, almost. And it shows you that with that talent, if you've got the intelligence and you can start figuring out where you need to be, then you can sort of get the halfway between the work rate and where you should be, and that's where he looks like he is now.
Yeah, he improved. I mean, to be fair, he was brilliant in when Marco Silva had his first bad spell, and then we started off with the win at Cardiff, and he scored absolutely brilliant goal. Brilliant goal. I think it was the only goal he did score till the end of the season, wasn't it? But his performances were brilliant, so it almost didn't matter, because obviously Richarlison was excellent, and Sigurdsson was scoring goals, so Dom done all the work and they were benefiting, which was brilliant. It worked, it all worked, but there was still a question mark over it. It was, can he get the goals? Because we played with one striker, and when you play with one striker, if you ain't Romelu Lukaku or Jamie Vardy, lads who are going to bang in, Harry Kane, are going to get into 20 goals. You know, Liverpool and City's forward are slightly different, but they still score loads of goals. But what I'm talking about, in those teams, Leicester and Tottenham, and like Ron, for us, it was one main man. Was he going to be that person?
The irony is, the end of last season, he was working hard, he was creating chances, such a threat up front. But away from home, we had games like Fulham and Crystal Palace where he had chances, and he never took them. But the irony is, he's still not taking those chances. That's the mad thing. It's that, no, but he's not though, because if you think about the Arsenal game and you think about the Chelsea game, he's still not taking the chances. The difference is that he's now creating more chances because he's in a 4-4-2. So he's creating more chances and he's taking them, but he's still not anywhere near the finished article, because he's still not taking those chances that win you big games or get you back into big games, like the Arsenal chances, like the Chelsea. And I'm not saying they were absolute sitters, they weren't sitters, but the point is that they're the ones that the absolute highest.
That's his next level then, isn't it?
That's the next thing he's got.
So if we look at his career as in a trajectory, you know, we're talking 38 games last season, 8 goals, 6 Premier League goals, so his best season. 1, 4, 6 in terms of Premier League goals over 3 seasons. This season, coming in and out the side again. You know, Marco Silva had lost faith in him almost, because obviously he had other options. We had Richarlison, who me and Piv did the video in the summer saying he's actually a better striker than he is a wide player, but he can do both roles. We've got Moise Keane, who's a big, you know, it's there. It was a lad who we paid money for, who has scored goals in Italy. You know, why isn't he playing him? No real way of playing him. Silva didn't. Marco Silva had some aspects of the game right, but didn't know how to change enough to get the best out of people.
Well, he had the Gylfi Sigurdsson problem, didn't he?
Well, Sigurdsson as well, but then after balls then to make we said that after balls to make some decisions. And to be fair, he did drop Sigurdsson, and it was probably one of our best performances, West Ham at home, when Sigurdsson was on the bench. But up until Marco Silva was sacked, Dom hadn't scored many goals. He got 2 at Chef Wed in the League Cup, which was excellent. I think he scored at Bournemouth, and he got, for me, which was probably, and Brighton, which was a brilliant goal, but his best one of the season was Man City when he robbed Coleman at home, because that was the kind of goal I wanted to see him getting. And then, you know, I mentioned it before, Duncan Ferguson took over for the Chelsea game. But the big thing, just let's go back a few months. Ended the season with 1 goal in 13 games or something. Asked for the number 9 shirt. He'd asked for it the year before. And I remember we were looking, and he'd wore it at Wigan when we were there, and he'd wore it, you know, a couple of things, and we were looking and going, is he putting pressure on himself?
We actually did a video at the end of last year saying, should Dominic Calvert-Lewin?
Yeah, we were saying should he, 9? But we also, when he wanted it and got it, we were like, is he putting just a bit of pressure on himself? He hasn't scored. But you know what? I like that. I like the fact that he's gone, give it to me and I'll have a go. I want to be Everton's number 9, and I like the humble side of him. He's obviously a Yorkshire lad. You listen to him, what runs right through that article in The Athletic with people who've talked about him, people at Stalybridge, people at Northampton. Humble, wanted to work hard. David Undred said the same. Carlo Ancelotti, Duncan, that day, he went to war for Duncan because he loves Duncan. He said he's been the biggest influence on him. Scored goals, he was brilliant. And since then, he's been incredible. I don't think, up until football stopped, I think there was only, out of all the English players, he'd scored the most goals since December or something. And only a couple had scored more than him. Carlo Ancelotti comes in and you're like, there's a manager who is a world-class manager, work with some big talents, says almost immediately, this lad can go right to the very top. And since then, obviously, we've gone and he's gone like that. And as it stands, football is obviously stopped at the minute. He's got 15 goals in 31 games this season. Hasn't started all of those games. He's scored 13 Premier League goals. There's only 3 or 4 players in the Premier League who've got more goals than him.
And some of them will have penalties.
Some of them are playing, most of them are playing the teams in the top 3. And they've started most of their games, where this lad had quite a big spell up the side because he was in and out. So, I guess the question is, if we're following his career like that, how good can he be?
Well, he's just signed a new 5-year deal. So, club have backed him. He's backed himself, and he obviously thinks he can get better. And he can get better, because as we've just said, there was a miss against Crystal Palace, so it should have made it 4-1.
Yeah.
Chelsea, Arsenal, sitters. And he said after the Palace game himself...
Would have had the winner against United, of course, as well. Should have had the winner.
Yeah, should have had the winner. But he said himself, I don't like it when I don't score now.
And that's a big change,
That's a big change as well. Stop playing for the team. Start playing for yourself a little bit. Start being hungry and greedy and all the things, again, that make good strikers. And I think as long as he keeps working hard, and as long as he doesn't suddenly think that he's something that he's not, which I wouldn't thought he would. And as long as that, because I think everything's got to do at the moment with that partnership, him and Richarlison, it works so well. They both work really hard, but they're both slightly different. And I think what he's got to start doing is, you look at some of the goals, like the goal he scored against Newcastle, the composure was brilliant. And I just wonder whether there are opportunities where he's still either snatching or thinking too hard about them. I think early on the season, this is where I go back to what I was saying before, but early on the season when we played the likes of Villa away, maybe he thought he was only going to get 1 or 2 chances in the game. Now I think he thinks he's going to get more chances because there's 2 of them, so he's taking more time and more care with them. And therefore he's scoring more goals, but they're getting more opportunities. We've obviously created a lot more opportunities, but it's still that same kind of opportunity, and that shows you how we've changed the style. We still the chances he's missing are the same chances he was missing before, and I think that's a big part of his game that he's got to get better at. Like I said, last season against Fulham and against Crystal Palace away, they were chances that could have won us the game that day, and it was that he's got this little thing, or he did have this little thing in his game where. And I've seen this in the under-21s in the summer as well, in the Euros, where the ball will be slid across, and he sort of thinks, can I get that or not? Where strikers don't, the strikers at the very top and someone here, they don't think, am I going to get that?
But I think he's improved at that.
I know he has, but I still think that's the one. You look at the Arsenal chances.
It's gamble.
Look at the Arsenal chances. Richarlison puts them across, and he's almost thinking, will it come here or will it go there? And it's almost got to be that thing of, I'm going to commit to it. He did it against Newcastle, and he got it, and he got his reward. It looks scruffy when it goes in, but he's almost, that one's almost like he half makes the decision, but he gets his reward, makes a great run for it. And there'll be more of them this season, and that's where he's just got to get a little bit better, where he's against Arsenal, and also the one against Chelsea, where it's just like, hit the target. We've got another player there. Don't overthink it. And I think as he gets more relaxed and more confident in being a number 9, and what he is also is...
He missed that same chance against Man City at home at 2-1 as well. If you remember when Sigurdsson put him in, he dinked it over Ederson but put it wide, and it's like, hit the target.
And I think what he is though is he's a great example to other players. He's a great example to someone like Tom Davies who struggling at the moment. It's like, and I think Holgate had a similar thing to him this season. It's like,
to get better,
get yourself in the team, get yourself working hard. Don't worry about anything about where you're playing or anything. Just get yourself in the team. And once
get a level,
everyone thinks that you're at a level, then everything else will go away, and then you can start once. And maybe that's why he wanted the number 9 shirt, almost like that was the confirmation that he was part of the first 11, like a psychological thing. I know a lot of players have different kind of things, but I think Tim Howard used to wear 24 because he said something like, it's almost like I'm not part of the squad. I've got to work for the number 1, even though I'm never going to take the number 1. Or something silly like that. Do you know what I mean? All players have little...
You look for edges, don't you?
Yeah, and that's, I think by taking the number 9, he's almost gone, well, if I don't do it, I've bet on myself now. I've given myself that challenge. I want to be a great Everton number 9.
Great example for Moise Keane. For a lad who's not really found his feet yet.
Slightly
got to work a bit hard.
Slightly different because obviously... problem with Moise Keane is people feel like he's took a step down and he can't get in the team. But even though he hasn't really took a step down because he's gone from being maybe 4th, if he was at Juventus, which he probably wouldn't be like 4th, 5th choice player. At Everton, he's 3rd choice striker. So it's...
But with the opportunity to become one of the front two.
It's not working hard, isn't it?
No, but that's what I meant. You look at Dominic Calvert-Lewin, look at, Moise Keane was there, and we'll see this lad not being able to get it.
I think it's an example to all the players in the 23s to bin off the Instagram lifestyle. I mean, listen, this lad used to have the Instagram lifestyle, and he binned it off.
And to be fair, it has come back a bit later.
No, you know what I'm talking about.
I know what
I'm talking about.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you don't have to bin it off. No, I mean, you've got to make a big decision. But that's a tough decision.
He binned the Instagram lifestyle off. And he decided it was all about football. And I think that's the message I'd say to the 23s. Some of them. If you're on the edge, get knocking on the door and go, I'm left-footed, do you need someone to play on the left? I'll come in and do it for you. Do you need some... I think Anthony Gordon's got a touch of that. Yeah. Of, wherever you need me, I'll play there for me. Do you need someone to be the backup left-back? Teach me how to be a left-back. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's what you've got to do. And once you're in there, and once you're part of that squad, and once that manager knows he can... Go back to people like Gary Neville, who said, I never had any talent, but I was always there. I was always there. It ends up winning everything. There's so many players like that through the time who have elevated themselves with hard work first. And I think that's the thing. Forget about everything else. Forget about who you think you are or what you think you are because you play for a professional football club. That means nothing.
All comes anyway. If you do well, that lifestyle, doesn't it? All comes anyway.
That's what the best players know.
Yeah,
that's what the best players know. You know, we're in a situation now where people like Ronaldo's got hotels and giving them to islands and giving them people to live in and stuff while stuff's going on in the world. And what that does is, you look at them and go, you've never skipped a leg day in your life, have you, mate? Still working hard now at 34. So, no, I think, like we said before, absolutely brilliant improvements to the point where you're going into hopefully we're all going into a summer transfer market where you're not going, we're desperate for a centre forward because we've got 3. That's the most important.
And then you've got Ellis Sims, who if he follows his trajectory and looks and goes, well, hang on, this lad's worked hard and now he's in. And he's a big lad as well.
Ellis Sims is the other way though.
He's got the
other thing. He's got the goal scoring touch now. And what he needs to do is add the attitude of Dominic Calvert-Lewin. And I think that's harder.
No, it is, because if it's not your natural game.
Yeah.
Although it's difficult because you can have centre forwards who will run around all day, but naturally they don't get in the right area. But if you've got the instinct, you need to add that because the Premier League's unforgiving. Yeah. And someone like Ellis Sims has got an opportunity, same as Anthony Gordon, like you said. Only I think we've seen Anthony Gordon want to get better and better. So fingers crossed. But it's brilliant. It's brilliant that Dom has improved. It's brilliant he's just signed a new 5-year deal. And when we start playing football again, it'll be brilliant to see him scoring some goals again and getting past this. So let us know what you think in the comments section below. Is he Everton's most improved player certainly over the last 12 months? And has he shocked you? Has he surprised you? Because I know that there was a lot of people who were still very critical in September, October, November of whether he was any good. You know what? We see comments of he's a champion.
Needs a loan.
And all of that. Needs a loan. He's a championship player. He's this, he's that. Has he surprised you? And now, are you confident that he can just get better and better? So let us know in the comment section below. Don't forget to check out The Athletic. Free subscription for 7 days, then 50% off your yearly subscription. The link is in the description below.
Use your
time. Why?
Free trial to go and read that article.
Read that article. There's other stuff on Everton earlier in the week, stuff about no penalties. We still haven't had a penalty in the Premier League. So go and check all that.
Which if we had, he'd have bagged them all, because he's a brilliant penalty taker.
If he takes them, he is a good penalty taker though. But so there you go. Go and check that out. Make sure you subscribe. Give this video a thumbs up. If you want more videos like this, longer tail videos, join us on Patreon. See you later.